What I'm going to do today is real quickly run through some of the run commands that you can access on a Windows PC. So most of the programs you can get through simply by going to your Windows icon and then scrolling down till you see them, or start typing for it and then select it that way. But some you can actually get to a bit quicker by using a run command, which is why you might want to do it. Or sometimes if you're troubleshooting computer issues, you'll be instructed to do a command. And that's usually when this will happen. So here are a few useful run commands that you might want to access. To get to the run prompt, you just click on your Windows icon, your start, and type the word run in. It'll pull it up, and there we go. It has, of course, the most recently thing used. In this case, number 1 on our list, which is going to be add and remove programs. Keep in mind, I will post all of these in the description below, so you can just copy and paste if you want. So add and remove programs does exactly what it says. It allows you to select any programs that are on your computer and uninstall or make changes to them. You can also, of course, get this by going, uninstall apps and features, and do the same thing from that view as well. Next one is going to be our administrative tools. Now what we get with here is it's going to be your control panel that contains tools for various administrative and other tools that you might want to access. A couple useful ones in here are going to be your disk cleanup. That'll come in handy. You can access your performance monitor if you want to see what's going on with your computer. So there's just a few useful admin tools that you can get to from here. Next up is going to be I don't know if you really need to go here for this one, but you can get your calculator from here versus going and typing calculator. Which is quicker? Heck if I know, but you can get to it from there as well. Okay, your command prompt, this is going to be one that you're going to need to use quite a bit. So even when you type run, you automatically get your command prompt anyways, but you can actually type in CMD and hit OK through the run, and that'll pull up your command prompt. Command prompt is, of course, really commonly used on a computer for troubleshooting or doing any kind of automated tasks and advanced administrative functions and troubleshooting. Next up, let's go to the control panel through here. This is your standard control panel that you've probably seen numerous times on your computer, but you can get to it from there. Here's a useful one, and this is going to be your time and date properties, which of course you can change the time and date of your settings and add additional clocks if you want, such as in my case where I want a clock that has Eastern and Pacific time zones on it. Next, we've got the cleanmgr. This is going to be a useful one. As mentioned previously, you can get to that from your administrative tools, but you can also just type in cleanmgr. Next on our list is going to be the diskmgr. This is going to be a useful one for you, especially if you've got multiple drives connected into your computer where you need to access them. This is also handy for if you need to change drive letters and that kind of stuff. Disk partition is going to allow you to partition your disks. You probably won't need to use this too much unless you're actually specifically instructed via some kind of troubleshooting step, or you know what you're doing, so you would already know what you're doing when you're in the disk partition. Okay, we're going to look at the event viewer. So this is definitely useful. This is going to allow you to see if there are any errors or other events that have happened on your computer, such as system errors, that kind of thing. Really handy if you are troubleshooting any problems with your computer. So mine are all looking good. Let's see if we've got any. Here we go. So we got a warning here. So in this case, I would want to identify, like, if I was working on my computer, had a problem that was related to this, I could then either, take this information and send it to whatever support process I'm going through, or do an internet search and see what I find. If you're a Firefox user, and I am, as you can see here, you can double click on that, or you can run Firefox through there. Next, we've got the malicious software removal tool. This is going to be useful to occasionally run on your, like the name says, run through and do a search for any malicious software on your computer. Your mouse control. Like it says, allows you to make changes if you want to speed it up, slow it down, if you want to change your pointer buttons to something different, if you're tired of just the regular old pointy arrow, that kind of stuff. That's where you would do all of this from. Network connections is going to be one, of course, if you're having problems with your internet. I can grab my internet connection and do some troubleshooting on it if it's not working. If it's not connected, it would have little X's, that kind of stuff, so you actually know whether it's plugged in or not. As you can see with mine, I'm connected through my internet cable, but I'm not actually connected to the Wi-Fi at the moment. All right, now we have our on-screen keyboard. Now, of course, the interesting thing about this is, of course, in order to pull up the on-screen keyboard, you need to have a working keyboard to type in the run command. But hey, if for whatever reason you need this, maybe a couple keys on your keyboard aren't working, then you can access that through here. Power configuration. As always, you can get this through your control panel or just go straight to power options and change the power settings on your computer when it goes to sleep, that kind of stuff. Anyone who's ever had a printer plugged into their computer will at some point have problems with the printer, so we can use the control printers command in order to access our printers and troubleshoot those. Next up, we've got regional settings. So as you can see here, we can change my date and time format, any of that kind of stuff. I'm set to the United States, but maybe I want to go English UK or something like that. You can change that here. Next we have security and maintenance, so you can do your various security checks, make sure all of that's working, or if it's not working, get to it from there. Yes, I know you can get to it down here as well. Another one, sound and audio. So make sure in this case I know which speakers I've got as my default. I know that I'm currently using this as my recording microphone, but if you want to change any of that, this is where you would do that. System config, msconfig, this is probably the most recognizable one as well. This is where you can change some of your startup settings or troubleshoot any issues that happen during the startup process on your computer. If you have a computer, at some point you have probably been to the system configuration dialog at some point because it probably has errored and you were instructed to go there by some troubleshooting step. All right, here we've got system info. So this is a useful one as well. If you need to find out which version of Windows you're using, if you need to see if it's a 64-bit based system or not, find out what actual processor you're using, all useful stuff, especially when it comes to troubleshooting any issues you might be having, memory available, that kind of stuff. So all useful information here. And that's system information. System properties, another one you might want to go to if you need to check and find out if any of your devices are working correctly and troubleshoot those. Task Manager, this you get by Control-Alt-Delete on the keyboard, or you can run Task Manager from here. And let's say something's frozen and you need to force shut it, or any of that kind of, or you want to check your computer's performance, startup processes, any of this fun stuff, Task Manager will do that for you. After Task Manager, we've got our Utility Manager. So I can change some of my display settings here if I want, and play around with my mouse again, magnifier if I use that, text cursor, all this fun stuff. And the last one I'm going to show you is just your Windows version. Need to find out which version you want on? There you go, that quickly. All of these I went through really quick because, well, you're most likely going to not really listen to me anyways and just grab the command prompt from below and go your own way. So there was really no point in me going into a lot of explanation on why you do these. It's a Windows computer, and most everything on a Windows machine you can get to via multiple routes. This is just one of those many routes to get to some of this functionality.